Hey guys, Blazin here, and today, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use block weapons, since in the campaign, there's no such thing as a block weapon, and in PvP, there is no block weapon option either. So the block defensive option only exists in PvE, and there's no other tutorial or anywhere in the game that teaches you how to use it, so here's this video. I recommend watching my last video on it, as I go over more mechanics of it and how overpowered it is. And for those that already play PvE consistently, which I assume is the majority of you, I'm going to splash you with cold water real fast. There is no one tip or answer that's going to help you with block weapons. If you want to use block weapons, you have to know the enemy patterns and timing. There is no cheat code or one answer that's going to help you. The reality is you have to get good. With that being said though, what I can do is at least guide you guys in the right direction to use block weapons. That's what I'm here for, right? But before I do that, I do just want to simply show the timing window differences between balance, fencing, and block. Just so for the new people that are playing PvE can see the timing differences. So to show off balance weapons real quick, which this is pretty much the standard timing, you can pretty much press the parry button ahead of time and you'll get the parry effect. You know, pretty simple. However, if you are late, you don't get the full parry effect and you just get a standard block with nothing in return. Moving on to fencing weapons, and this is pretty much cheating. Like, trust me, I tried to be late with my timings, and I still get the parry effect. This is very handholdy. Like, you can see the parry animation, like, end its window. You know, like when the animation's about to end, like you missed your timing, but you still get the parry. Or there are times where I felt like I pressed the parry button a bit too early, but because the window is so huge, I still get the parry effect. Like, I don't even think there's a block animation for it. You either get the successful parry, or you completely miss. Not going to spend too much time on that, let's move on to block weapons. And the biggest difference between block and the other two defensive options is that you actually can't be too early, but nor can you be too late. This is where you have to near perfectly time your parries. If you do press the parry button too early or too late, then you get the standard block animation with nothing in return. So those are all the timing differences between each defensive option. So for the new people that just wanted to see the differences between balanced, fencing, and block, the video is pretty much over. However, if you are looking to use block weapons, then this section is for you. Like I said before, there is no one answer to use block weapons. You have to know enemy attack patterns and timings if you want to use them. So here are my tips on how you can work your way towards to use block weapons. And the first tip I would give is simply stop using fencing weapons. I mean, you saw how forgiving the window was. Just stop using fencing weapons and work your way up and start using balanced weapons until you feel comfortable enough to work your way towards block. Another tip I can give is simply stop using perks that allow for bigger parry windows. You know, like the Duelist perk on Vanguard, and I believe Assault and Heavy have a prestige perk called Duelist as well. You know, stop using those perks and use something else. So those are pretty much general tips I can give. Now I'm actually going to go in-game with live commentary, which I don't normally do too often, to show you guys which specific melee weapons you should use. And I'm going to go over each weapon as quick as I can. So here we are in-game with live commentary this time. Now I'm going to simply show you which balanced and blocking weapons you guys should use for each melee weapon. So if you're using the chainsaw, chances are you're using this fencing version. So if you want to move to balanced, I would recommend this one. It's still not the best, but hey, it's a balanced chainsword. And really the only difference, aside from it being balanced, is you just get a little bit more cleave, which I don't even think makes much of a difference, but that's it. And then eventually, when you get comfortable, if you're going to use a block chainsword, you can either go with this one right here, or you can go with this one right here. They're both good block options. And as for the perk tree, I'll show you real quick. If you want to copy it, here it is. So that's the chainsword. As for the combat knife, once again, I assume chances are you guys are probably using this. So for a balanced knife, I would use this. And even then, at the current state of the game, and actually for a while, you can still make this knife work. I personally still make it work. It's alright. But the block version over here is objectively better. So for the balanced knife, use this. And then for the block knife, use this. And then this is the perk tree I set up for it. So that's the combat knife. Next up is the thunder hammer. I assume chances are you guys are using this. So for a balanced hammer, there's two options. You can go with this one, or you could go with this one. Now the swing speed sucks ass on this one, but the damage is higher than this hammer. So you have two options on which balanced hammer you want to take. And then when you're ready to move on to block, choose this one, which is really the only and best option. And then here's the perk tree I have set up for the thunder hammer. So that's that. Now for the power fist, again, chances are you're probably using this one. For a balanced power fist, I would use this one, which, much like the combat knife, you can actually make this one work for a while. Again, even I make it work. When you get comfortable and you want to use a block power fist, I would go with this one down here, which again, the speed sucks ass, but the damage is very high. And then here's the perk tree I have set up for it. And finally, we come to the power sword. So once again, chances are you're using this one, which actually might be the best version of the power sword. So I think it's actually okay to stick with the fencing version of the power sword. However, once again, if you're looking to use block, then eventually you might want to use this balanced version over here, which I find to be okay, but I do think the fencing version slightly edges out, but this balanced version's okay. And then eventually when you do want to use a block power sword, I personally use this one, which again has the high strength but pretty low speed, which is a pretty common theme for the most part when it comes to block weapons, except for I think the thunder hammer. And then here's the perk tree I have set up for it, and that's pretty much it. Oh, actually, before I go, I will show you real quick. Another way you can practice to use block weapons is actually come here at the trials in the tactical class, and just choose this trial. For some reason, from my experience, this seems to be the only trial where you can actually change the defensive options of your melee weapons, and it will actually affect in the trial. Specifically, you want to use the block chainsword on the tactical because I don't think the combat knife will appear. So if you want to practice block, just click the block chainsword, come to the trials, and then just go in here. Then once you're in here, you can just practice.
Alien trespassers!
Once you're done, you can just click on click start, and then just click finish trial, and it'll take you back to the menu. And then you can go ahead and practice, balanced or fencing, whatever you want. But this is another option to practice balance. And I think that's pretty much it. And I think that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I procrastinated on making this kind of video for a while just because I feel like there's already probably enough videos covering on how to use block weapons and explaining on how the defensive mechanics work, but I don't know if I offered anything differently. I guess you guys can let me know down in the comments. I always try to make sure I post quality over quantity on this channel. I may not do that all the time, but I try to. And at least with that trial suggestion, you will get used to the Tyrannid Bone Sword unit, which is good because that's one of the more aggressive units. But hey, that's just one Tyrannid. There's still the Lash Whip Tyrannid, which is a little tricky to parry with a block weapon. And of course, other enemy types as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, share the video around, and I guess let me know down in the comments on what you think of the state of melee weapons so far is in Space Marine 2. By the time you see this video, patch 8 should probably be out, as well as the siege mode, so we'll see what I do next. And until next time, peace.